now that we're getting towards the end of the year, I think it's about time that we begin to celebrate our 100th year of Modernize Tailor. And since I've been with Modernize Tailor all my life, and I start learning the tailoring business when I was 14 years old at the same time as my diary project. I think that it's only fitting that we have this diary done at the same time as the 100th anniversary, because it's more or less related, because I've been learning not just the Chinese and tailoring and doing everything. 14 years old, at that stage of life, I was learning just about everything. He bought a loose leaf cover book and started a diary in Chinese, and I thought I was interested because I'm going on a long trip and I'm looking forward to it. So I thought it would be most interested to put it, start a diary in those days.
Not just within the family, but there's been questions from family and friends and others in the community about 100 years for Modernized Tailors. So this celebration event at the garden has been planned for over a year now.
Yeah.
So at this point, the working title is Tribute to Modernized Tailors, 100 Years of Dressing the Modern Man. So there's been a team within the community that have been putting things together, selecting, so that it's like a surprise party for Modernize and you of what's unfolding. So you're seeing a lot of activity, I think, this week, but there's been long planning for it, and there's some surprises coming up for you.
Yeah, I am surprised because I was so busy working at the shop now that Jack is gone, and I just have less staff, so I didn't really have much time to think about it until now. Now that the time is getting close, I have to admit that I am thinking about it now, and I am really surprised that there's so many things going on now. I'm really surprised, and it's really boggles my mind to see so many people working on it. And I guess I should be glad and thankful that somebody is so interested in it, because it is good for my business, and and I gotta admit that I'm thankful that people are still interested in my business, and they're still interested to come to my tailor shop, and that is exactly why it enables me to keep going, and keeps me active, and keeps me healthy at the same time. I'm very thankful for that.
You know, on the opening on November the 3rd, 2013, do you think there will be many people there?
Oh, I, I, I don't know. I think there will be. I've been talking to a lot of people, and they were all looking forward to it because I go to the Carnegie Center and I talk to different people, and they were all mentioned about looking forward to attending Modernize Tailor 100th anniversary. They were talking about, they even mentioned it since last year, so I don't see how there will not be most people. I'm afraid that I won't have enough room to accommodate them all. I hope that is the way anyway.
I'm Shayla Perot, the Visitor Services Manager, and on behalf of Dr. Sun Yat-Sen Classical Chinese Garden and our Executive Director, Kathy Gibler, welcome. We're so happy that you're joining us at the Garden in celebration of Modernize Tailors' 100 years of service to the community. Our garden mission is to connect cultures and communities through a classical Chinese garden. It's been a living museum and educational center, a museum gallery supporting artists and exhibits of historical significance, a community gathering place, and a place of harmony for 27 years.
My name is Peter Wong, Bill Wong's youngest son, and I'm delighted to be your MC for today's event. Modernize Tailors has and still plays an important part for the entire Wong family. All my siblings, aunts, uncles, and cousins have all had custom tailored slacks, jackets, and suits made for special occasions, graduations, weddings, and business careers. As Sam Sullivan said, that's the secret code. For the past 30 years, it was a meeting place before our annual New Year's Day shopping trip in Chinatown for the Wong family feast held at the Cambie Street home every January 1st for 50-plus family members and guests. Everyone was always welcome at Modernize Tailors and attracted many professional TV and movie actors, politicians, and even neighbors from the downtown east side. Even our Uncle Alan, who suffered from schizophrenia, helped at the tailor shop, sweeping the floor and earning a few dollars and lots of encouragement and praise from our Uncle Jack and my dad. So Dad, please enjoy this afternoon's events in the 100 Hall of Reverse as you dedicated your whole life to Modernize Tailors and to our family. You deserve this recognition, and we all love you and Mom very much.
Thank you, everyone. On behalf of the Heart of the City Festival, it's my pleasure to welcome you to this wonderful event honoring and paying tribute to the Modernized Tailor, and to have Zoe and Bill here and Stephen. It's a great pleasure for me. Over the years, I've come to know them and have become what I hope they consider in return good friends with them. And over the last couple of years, Zoe and Bill have come out to more events at the Heart of the City Festival than I can imagine. They're one of our most stalwart attendees, and so it's a great pleasure to have them as the focus of today's event. I'm just going to be brief, but I wanted to share a couple of memories with you. My wife and I, Savannah Walling, we moved in next door across the street 1975 into the Lim Sai Hor Kalmok building up on the second floor. Modernized Tailors was right next door, and at that time this building wasn't there, and it was hoarding around it, and they were just building the garden, and we watched it from the second floor building. And of course Bill and his brother Jack and the family had the tailor shop next door. Bill doesn't remember, but I remember wandering in there as a 25-year-old, skinny 25-year-old with my long pants and asking Bill to shorten them up, which he did. And one of the things I remember very clearly is walking in the store. It's the same thing that you see in the video, the TaylorMade, the wonderful TaylorMade video. It's walking into the store, and the first thing you see is Bill's face turning to you and this big smile on his face. There was a sense of welcome and a sense of care and a sense of service that he and his shop provided that I felt from the first time I walked into that store. So it's wonderful, Bill, to be here with you and to have worked with Stephen over the last year. We were talking about a year ago. Stephen was saying, you know, something to do with Modernize Tailors, 100 years, and we said, we got a crazy idea. Let's put an event here, and let's approach City Council to present the folks with a surprise. So I'm not going to let the cat out of the fish. Stephen's saying, don't say anything. I can see the look in his eyes. But this is a special day, and I'm so honored and to be here with you to pay tribute to Modernize Tailors and to you, Zoe, and to you, Bill. Thank you very much, and have a great day. This is your day.
And now this 100th anniversary of Modernize has caught the attention of all levels of government. The Prime Minister has sent a certificate of recognition of this milestone, and I am pleased it arrived before his current distractions from the Senate this weekend. That was my Aunt Jane's line, and she asked me to say that, so I can't take the credit for that. But the certificate is I just want to read the proclamation. The certificate is presented to Modernize Tailors in recognition of your 100th anniversary. It gives me great pleasure to extend to you the warmest greetings and best wishes on this special occasion. My colleagues in the Government of Canada join you in recognizing this significant achievement and wish you many more years of continued success. The Right Honourable Stephen Harper, PC MP. And on the provincial level, we have Premier Christy Clark sends her best wishes, and I'd like to read that. A message: as Premier of the province of BC, it gives me great pleasure to congratulate those with Modernize Tailors on the occasion of their 100th anniversary. This milestone occasion is a wonderful opportunity to reflect back over the years and recognize the many accomplishments of this business and the generations that family that run it. Since the establishment in 1913, Modernize Tailors has developed a well-recognized reputation and has been part of Vancouver's history. I understand Wong Kung Lao founded the original shop after coming to Vancouver in 1911 from Guangdong Province, China, and apprenticing under a master tailor from England. This is an incredible accomplishment, and with his dedication, skill, and business sense, he was able to thrive and expand the business, passing it down to his children. Congratulations again on this special anniversary. Modernize Tailors is a truly admirable success story and is a wonderful component of the history of Vancouver. Please accept my best wishes for a memorable celebration and many more years of success. Sincerely, Christy Clark, Premier.
He's going to tell you that story in a little while. I live vicariously sometimes through other family members. My sister, who's been a friend of the Wong's family for a very long time and grew up with Peter's cousin, Andrea, and they've been friends ever since kindergarten. And so they've partied with Bill and Zoe and Peter and others at the Wong's house. I see Sarah here, actually. It's exciting to see everybody here. And so for me, I think it's mainly about this. I think the tradition of the Wong's family in our community has been there for a long time. I know that many of you went to Strathcona School, which is one of the oldest schools in the city of Vancouver. You building up your business, you investing in the neighborhood, you really establishing, coming back to the neighborhood and to reclaim, I think, what you began to build so many years ago. And then as we branch out into our neighborhoods, as we see the changes that occur, we see parts of the history preserved. And I think that is so very important. That speaks to about who we are. And Heart of the City is to highlight, I think, all the special histories of the moments in the city of Vancouver and being recognized for the 100 years for Modernize Tailor, I think speaks to, the history of what you have contributed. I think the work ethic that you display through your family and the establishment and the success of your business. So for that, I want to say thank you to you for your dedication, for your contributions, for your commitment, and for just simply being a part of who we are in this wonderful neighborhood of Vancouver Mount Pleasant and right here in Chinatown. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you very much, Peter. I'm delighted to be here and to bring you all greetings from Mayor Gregor Robertson and all of Vancouver City Council. I had some fun the other day. I went down to the shop. I said, I need a new suit. So I went down there, and he's fitting me up and all this kind of stuff. And I said, you know, as you can tell, I kind of like double-breasted suits and big lapels and things like that. And he said, how big do you want your lapels? And I said, 4 1/4 inches. He said, no, you can't do that. I says, why? We're Modernize Tailor. I'm going to make them slimmer. I said, no way, no way. Anyway, what's really wonderful about these Heart of the City events is that it brings together people from all over our communities into different parts of the city you might never not ever go to. It brings together old friends, and as I discovered, old family members. So, I've forgotten, my family came here about 1905. Bill's family came here 1911, 1912. We're all third generation Canadian-born Chinese, and our families grew and got big and big and big. And I had actually forgotten that we were all related somehow. And it wasn't until Stephen called me about something, and he started talking about this other tailor up on Main Street, this guy called Si Ling. And I said, that's my grandfather. And he says, really? Well, we're related, And so next thing you know, we've realized that, my Auntie Zoe's sister had married my uncle in Toronto and all this kind of stuff. And so next thing you know, they knew my granddad, and they traded stuff when they needed it. In fact, if you need parts for your machines, we got them in the basement. All the old treadle things. And then even when he fitted me up the other day, he had this ruler with a little prod stick up to measure your inseam here, and he stuck it between my legs, and he pulled it up, and I said, wow, that's we're not that close. Anyway, we do have a little surprise for you. Uncle Bill and Auntie Zoe, and my cousins Peter and Stephen and everybody from the city of Vancouver. Hang on. In recognition of, one thing I will say is that the Wong family is very much, their history is very much a history of Vancouver and very much a history of many Chinese families that have emigrated from Guangdong province here to Vancouver. We all came around the same time, and we all had tough times. We all experienced a lot of racism, but we also experienced a close family and moving forward and doing what's best we can for our future generations. I mean, it's great when I see my cousins here. We're all successful. We have doctors and lawyers and financial planners and everyone else, artists. I mean, there was a time when these guys, Bill and his brother Jack, had trained in engineering, and they weren't allowed to practice as engineers. There was a time when my father wasn't allowed to do certain things, or when my mother, when she was working she got a job interview at the provincial courts, and they said, we have to check to make sure it's okay with everybody else for Chinese to be working here. But we persevered, and we move on, and 100 years later, we're still here, and he's still making great suits. Is that the one you got for me? Is that? I think you forgot the buttonhole. Anyways, our little surprise for you, Bill and Zoe, is that we're be proclaiming today Modernize Tailor Day here in the city of Vancouver. Oh, no, you sit down. I got to read something. All right. I'm going to read this out because what we wrote here was very much a little bit of a history of the Wong family, and as I said, many Chinese families in the city of Vancouver. So I'm going to put on my best voice and read this out for you. Modernize Tailor Day. Whereas Vancouver's living history is shaped by the stories of its residents and its neighborhoods. And whereas the story of early Chinese Canadians in Vancouver is reflected in the legacy of Wong Kai-lung, Wong Gong-lai, who emigrated from Guangdong province in 1911, settled in Strathcona, and opened a shop called Modernize Tailors in 1913. And whereas Modernize Tailors grew into a thriving business and became an iconic fixture in Chinatown from its storied location at 5 West Pender Street, and whereas the success of Modernize Tailor, who was shaped in a large part by brothers Bill and Jack Wong, who went to the family business despite being trained engineers from UBC because racism at the time prevented Canadians of Chinese heritage from practicing the profession. And whereas Modernize Tailor is proudly celebrating its 100th anniversary as an important part of our city's heritage. And whereas the longevity of Modernize Tailor is a testament not only to the Wong family, but the style and good job he does. But to the tremendous contributions of early Chinese immigrants to the development of Vancouver. Now, therefore, I, in the name of Mayor Gregor Robertson, Mayor of the City of Vancouver, do hereby proclaim Sunday, November 3rd, 2013, as Modernize Tailor Day here in the City of Vancouver. Congratulations.
I think if you're really fortunate, you get to live long enough to see the world change around you. If you're truly fortunate, then you're one of the people who made it change. And I think that's one of the ways I often think of, people like the Wong brothers, Bill and Jack Wong, and their wives, Zoe and Elwin, and their kids, is that the Wong family, when you think about the siblings and the family itself and take it in total, you see that Modernize Tailors, which is associated so much with their father who established it 100 years ago and who built it as a business, who had two of his sons take over, but then another two younger sons go on to do other things, dentistry, finance. What you see in that family is actually a changing of the world, a time when their father first came. The Chinese Revolution had just occurred in 1911. There had been generations of Chinese who came from Siyup and other of the sort of 8 counties total in which most of the overseas Chinese came from Guangdong province. They went back and forth around the world, around between southern China and places like Vancouver, Victoria, San Francisco, Sydney, Australia, Hawaii, Southeast Asia. Often they went in these circular patterns, leaving as young men, making it, they hoped, somewhere. Many of them didn't make it, didn't get rich and successful. But those who could make some money would go back, buy some land, get married, go back out again, leaving wives and children at home. Sometimes they left them at home because racism, head tax, and things like that kept them from reuniting families. Other times they left wives and families at home because it was home, this village. And you could get a big house, and if you sent money back, you could have more wealth in the home village than if you were to try to bring your wives and family here. But that world is, it seems, long gone. A world in which we were tied here in Vancouver to southern China. It seems long gone because by the middle of the 20th century, by the time Bill and Jack went to UBC and graduated from engineering, racism, Chinese weren't allowed to vote. If you weren't allowed to vote, you weren't allowed to be in a profession. When we interviewed last year, Bill, he was talking about after the war and how after he graduated from engineering, the wonderful opportunity of making zoot suits, okay, and making a lot of money. Okay? And so they decided to go back, the brothers, and to make these zoot suits. They sort of look like Kerry's suits. He's a throwback. Okay? Baggy or so you got to make it a little more narrower down at the bottom, right? But it's very interesting because he didn't mention anything about engineering and that they just finished these engineering degrees and the difficulty of finding a job and things. What it was the opportunities that were available and making the most out of them. And so many of the Chinese did that. Don't complain in some sense about the obstacles, even though you were going to fight to overturn those. Eventually in 1947, Chinese struggled and fought and earned the vote. But make the best of what you've got. Make sure your kids go to school, that they get educated. By the time the two younger brothers graduate from UBC, it's a different world. It's a different world because not only did they live long enough to see it change, but they also were part of that change. And so I think that's one of the things we should remember and think about as we think about 100 years of Modernize Tailor, is 100 years of Chinese-Canadian families. This is one business, but it also could stand for all of the grocery stores, corner stores, laundries, tailor shops in every city, cafes across the prairies, right, farms up and down the Fraser. If all of you who've come from families like this think about that family-run business. My parents ran a grocery store in Victoria, right, and the work they put in, 365 days. They didn't take New Year's off. They didn't take Christmas off. And they put all that effort into making sure the world would be better for their kids. And so to Bill, to Zoe, to Jack's wife, Evelyn, congratulations for having made it this far, for having seen the world change, but also lucky for us all that you were part of that change as well, making it a better world for your kids, your grandkids, and for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you for those wonderful words, Dr. Yu. Next we have Joanne Poon, is the Community Liaison for the Initiative of Student Teaching and Research in Chinese Canadian Stories at UBC. Her area of interest is the overseas Chinese history and the history of Chinese Canadians.
Good afternoon. It's an honor to be here, actually, to share with you my work and my experience in this diaries project. And I'd like to thank the Wong family for having me here, and also for actually welcoming me into the family wholeheartedly and open-armed. And they support me in this project every way I need to. And they share with me the diaries of Bill's father and Bill's diaries, and also the precious diaries of their mother. And all these are just wonderful to me. And I just appreciate the enthusiasm and their support. And for that, I can't thank them enough. For about 2 years, I've been working closely with Bill. Together, we read the diaries that he and his father created in 1936 when they went to China. And there are like 3 diaries together and 325 entries. And I translate all the entries and typeset all of them in Chinese. And for over 6 months, I would say, I actually carry all the equipment that I have from Chinese Canadian stories. My laptop, my video camera, my scanner. I went to Modernize Tailors once a week and spent a morning with Bill and Zoe. And we would sit in a corner and I read the diary entries to Bill in Cantonese, piece by piece, to help him to recall his writings 75 years ago. And oftentimes, he would tell me a lot of interesting anecdotes, remarks on various individuals, the places he had visited, his teachers in school, his exams, the food that he had, a lot of interesting things. And we always have a lot of laughs and fun at our meetings. And when I tell people about this project, they always ask me, what's the best part involved in a project like this? And I have to say that, to be very honest, I feel like I'm one of those characters riding a time machine in a scientific fiction, like the ones that my daughter would like to read. And this time machine actually takes me back in the 30s to meet Bill when he was 14 years old. And then it also takes me back to the present day to meet Bill when he's 91 years old in Modernize Tailors. And this experience, the conversations that I had with Bill in different eras and in different formats, one in paper and one in person, give me such a rich experience and so unique too. And I come to see how a teenager gradually become a wise elder sitting right in front of me. And as a historian, I'm used to work with or to study archival documents, but I never had a chance to meet the person who actually created documents, the pieces. So in this project, it really gives me this unique experience, and I really treasure every moment that I met Bill. And another interesting experience I have in this project is actually meeting Bill's father, Wong in paper, through his writing. A large portion of the first diary was contributed by Mr. Wong Bill's father, and Marie's father, and their grandfather. Through his writing, I came to know him as a meticulous person. He has a high standard of details, and he attends to, it's unbelievable. In his writing, he would precisely and concisely wrote down the time that the boys woke up on the day, the weather, the people they met, the food they ate, the places they went to, down to every dollar that he spent on a meal with people. And it was these details, his standard, that made me come to understand why he became a successful merchant, successful businessman, and the best tailor in town, in the community. And of course, for Bill, he has inherited all these fine qualities from his father, and it made him become a top tailor. but he also carried these qualities to a higher level and made himself become a thoughtful person at a very early age. And in some of his writings, he actually shared with us his comments, very deep thinking on the political situations in China at that time when facing the Japanese invasion. And in a couple minutes, you will be hearing to one of those pieces.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. I'm David Wong. I'm Jack Wong's son. Now, unfortunately, my dad died on Father's Day, and he would have been so honored to have been here. Actually, especially if he knew there was a big dinner tonight, because he was a very big eater. But on behalf of my mom, Evelyn, and my sisters, we just really want to thank the city for such an honor. And, thank you for presenting Carrie. Yeah. And, but just a few things, I think. My dad was very low key, and I think he'd be very tickled pink by this ceremony. He'd be going, oh, Mohat Hey, or I'm not sure the Chinese translation, because I didn't really study enough in Chinese school. I wish I'd had, Jenny, that work ethic that you talked about. But, Dad was just so low-key, and, I really admired his modesty, because I remember when Sylvester Stallone came in for the silk suit. Now, tell me, Uncle Bill, if I'm wrong. But I guess, he had all the umbrellas, because it was raining, and, he's actually kind of short, Dad said. But he came in wanting the silk suit. I remember my dad just said, oh, that's too much bother, just, you should make something simple. We don't want to do it. It's just too much energy and stuff. So my dad was really, just for the common guy and just for the community at large. But I think my dad would want to just sort of, he had a few words of advice. He never gave the kids, he let us do our own thing. But for those in modernized suits, he always would say, now make sure you hang it up at the end of the day. Make sure you don't just toss it off when you're going home. And always get off the food stains. Very important, very important. And make sure you watch out for those moths, because he was always like looking at the holes and stuff. But the biggest thing I think he said to me was, Dave, keep your speeches short, because there's a lot of people ahead of you, and there's a big meal ahead of us. So on behalf of my dad and family, thank you so much. It was a great honor.
This diary entry is about mosquitoes. I still remember how terrible they were. They came from the fermented tofu factory, the small farms, and the pond in the area. They were such a nuisance to Jack and me. Not only would they bite us and cause itchiness, but we also had to sleep in mosquito nets. It's so hot and stuffy. As a result, we often did not sleep well. The above is for March the 4th, Thursday. This morning, when I woke up, I was still tired because we did not sleep well the whole night. We were disturbed by the evil mosquitoes. Last night, we did not pay attention and left the mosquito net open before going to bed. The mosquito flew in the middle of the night. Our faces were full of mosquito bites. So Jack and I got up to catch the mosquitoes. We must catch all of them, as they would suck up our blood. Later, we went back to sleep. I heard Sui Gong's clock, which is upstairs, struck twice. Dong, dong. It was 2 a.m. in the morning. We could finally sleep at ease, but still heard the buzzing sound of the mosquitoes from outside the net. The noise sounds like mosquitoes were about to break the net, rushing in to bite us. They were formidable. We had many mosquitoes here. They were from the ferment tofu factory in the neighborhood. Sui Gong, Wong Sui Gong, was the owner of the house that we live in. He lives upstairs, number 3, and rented the ground floor suite from him. He was an old man originally from Vancouver. My father knew him well, and I could say he's probably a Wong too. So that's it for now, I guess.
I'm reading this piece in memory of my gung Jack Wong, who passed away on June 16, 2013. This story took place during the construction of the house of my dad and Uncle Bill's grandmother in their village of Samlook-lay. Grandmother was raising a pig that would be cooked for the housewarming dinner. Since yesterday, Grandmother's pig had lost appetite. She refused to eat. That pig was for the housewarming dinner on the moving day and for the relatives as well. So Grandmother was worried about it. Every meal, Grandmother would pick fresh green leaves for her. She also fed the big tomatoes and taros. In the evening, Grandmother also went to the market to buy banana and fruits for the pig. Sometimes she even gave her sugar cane. We all said that this pig enjoys a better life than humans.
May 22nd, Saturday. Yesterday, we went home after school. While we were playing, we suddenly heard the sounds of a gong. We went out to see and find that there was a monkey performance. We followed the troupe and went to the village. People there, old and new, went out to watch the show. When the show began, the monkey went around us. He did many funny tricks, which made us laugh hard. The best part was when the monkey disguised as an old man, wearing a hat and a mask, holding a bamboo stick in his hand. The monkey listened to the commands from the master. Why? Because humans are more intelligent than animals. If humans had no knowledge, wouldn't we be the same as the monkey? So, I must remember this. Dad's memory when he was talking with Joanne during the translation. Monkey performance was popular in China. There were many types of entertainment in the market. The troops would travel from place to perform. We made a donation at the end. The more the audience gave, the more tricks the performers would make. In Vancouver, there was a sesame seed candy vendor in Chinatown who always carried a monkey with him during business.
So, in English, October the 4th, Sunday, Jack and Bill woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning to be ready for a stroll in town. We went to town at 6:30 and head directly to Chinatown. Many of the shops were still closed. When we walked by the Overseas Chinese Public School, there was a group of students at the school entrance, dressing in military uniforms to exercise. Next to the school located the Seiyap Association. Behind the association building stood the Guanggong Temple. In the temple, an old lady was chanting the Guan Dai Ging, and another lady knelt in front of the altar to pray to the god. Bill and Jen watched them in fascination. We continued to sightsee in the Chinese area until 8 o'clock, then returned to the ship. This morning, the sky suddenly cleared up. At 9 o'clock, the ship began to sail to Kobe. When the ship was leaving the port, we saw 3 fortresses. One of them was destroyed in an earthquake. Places in Japan look very similar, except Yokohama. 10 years ago, there was a dam in Yokohama, and it had now developed into 2 streets and had more cottonwood trees around. 2 hours after the ship set sailing, the ocean became very rough. It was the worst day so far.
This event happened when Jack and I were going to Puijing Chinese School. Puijing. March the 5th, Friday. We went home after school. While I was studying, little brother took $2 and went out to buy 6 silkworms. I never seen silkworms before. I only saw drawings in books, so I went to take a look. The worms were busy eating the mulberry leaves. None of them would stop eating. It was fun watching the worm eating, especially the one in the upper right corner. It had eaten up the entire corner of the leaf, but it was not satisfied, and still wanted to eat more. I quickly moved it away. Why did I do that? Because I imagined that the mulberry leaf was my country and the silkworm were Japan. Japan had invaded the eastern 4 provinces of China. If we did not wake up and unite together to fight against Japan, our country would be like the mulberry leaves, eaten up by the silkworm. My memory, here's my memory from talking with Joanne as the diary was being translated. In those days, in China and even Vancouver, the teachers talked about anti-Japanese imperialism. 打倒日本大國主義. In the composition class, we always wrote about the war effort. This topic was always in our daily lives. We talked about it through the war for about 5 to 6 years. It was like brainwash. So when I saw the silkworm and the mulberry leaves, I interpreted it from that perspective. As a kid, I can feel the intense political situation, even in Canton. The war was approaching close to the south from the north. Here's another one. This event happened when Jack and I were going to Puijing Chinese school. Wait a minute. No. Oh, that should be there. Yeah. Okay, number 6. When I wrote this entry, number 3, Aunt was away for 3 days to visit family in the village. We stayed home with the maid and were happy to see her come home. January the 24th, Sunday. In the morning, we got up and went to play soccer in Donggaoqiang. We played until we were tired. Then we went home for lunch. After lunch, we played in the courtyard. Suddenly, the weather turned very hot. We were all sweating. We were told to eat sugar cane because it would reduce the heat in our body and cool us down. So we went to the fruit store to buy sugar cane to eat at home. At 5 p.m., while we were eating supper, suddenly someone knocked on the door. We knew it was number 3 Aunt. He came back from the village and brought us 3 cases of rice cake, dry sweet potato, 10 caddies of water chestnut, black beans, and dry vegetables. We were so excited that we did not go to bed until 10 p.m. Yeah. When this diary was being translated, I told Joanne about my memories of sugarcane. I would like to share them with you. We loved sugarcane. Jack and I would carry a bundle together, he on one end and I on the other. We bought the olive green color ones. They were about 8 or 9 feet long. We carried them home, chopped it into smaller pieces, cut off the skin, and ate it raw. We usually ate in the courtyard. We chilled and sucked up the juice in the sugar cane. Very sweet. Spit out the fiber. By the time we finished eating all of them, we had to sweep up a large amount of fiber into a pile about 1.5 feet high. That was a lot of work. We are now going to pass out some sugar cane for you to try. I hope you will like it as much as we did. Please do not spit out the fiber like we did. I think I have talked enough already. I just want to thank the Heart of the City Festival for working with Terry and Steve for Modernize. Since last year, I went back to the Chinese Garden for providing this most excellent setting, and personal thanks to Dr. Yiu and Joanne for bringing up this 14-year-old kid. It's such a great transformation that we see on him. So keep up the good work. Lastly, I must thank Father Wong Kong Lai, for he is not only the founder of Modernize Tailor, he is also the founder of this diary. And I think I should say a few words to Evelyn about Jack. He's been my partner for 75 years, which is a long, long time. and also thanks to Steve for being with me to keep Modernize Tailor going, and his job in looking after my health and doing Sundol and keep me going. Yeah. It's a beautiful day. It's a wonderful day. For me, this is the greatest day of my life. Yeah. To all of you, I just say thank you. Thanks for coming, and my shop is just across.
Thanks, Dad. I guess you're working from 5 days a week to 7 days a week. So, anyways, thank you once again to the Yat-Sen Garden, Heart of the City, Silk Road Music, and all the speakers. One last thing, although Dad's diary is not ready yet, there's a book on the family called The Wong Family Feast, Our Recipe and Stories, by my cousin Joanna Wong, who is now in Beijing. But this book is available in the garden gift shop. The cost is $20, and all the proceeds from the sale go to the Dr. Yat-Sen Garden. There's great family recipes, apple pie recipes, chicken wings, and great recipes that you enjoy. So thank you again, and thanks. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Because as we go to school and start learning English, we kind of forget our Chinese upbringing, and we would be speaking to one another in English. You know, the children would be speaking to one another in English, and quite often they don't even know what we're talking about. I think to them they were surprised, and some of them maybe even disgusted. I don't know. For that reason, some of them make up their mind they should those that could afford it should send them back to China to learn some Chinese. Well, in my case, my father decided that it's time for him to go back to visit his mother, and also for me and Jack to go back to China and get some Chinese experience, such as going to school and see what the our ancestral village is like. And although we just went back for 1 year, we went back, and it was a real eye-opener for us. The school that we went to is Pui Jing. It was a school we enrolled in a special Chinese, they call it overseas Chinese class. Hua Kiu Ban, so overseas Chinese. You learn a lot of you concentrate on English. No, you concentrate on Chinese, and they cut out all their frills like music and art, and put special emphasis on Chinese. And for that, we were able to learn a lot of Chinese. It was greatest day of my life. You know, it was a big turnout, and it was a nice day, beautiful weather. It was a wonderful weather. Everybody was in a good mood, and everything, the schedule, the program, worked quite well on time. The proclamation came on time. Even without my knowledge, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect all these high-profile people there, because I'm not, I'm not a very public person. But anyway, it turned out to be a wonderful day and beautiful day. So, I felt very proud, and I felt very good. I consider that one of the best day of my life, because of the record of Modernize Tailor, to go as far as to live as long as 100 years, and still doing quite well. Peter did a good job of emceeing, and also my kid brother Icy and his wife Jane put the whole program together, and everything just worked like clockwork, without any hitch. The thing is, Ming, she's, I think, considering that's her first time that she ever spoke in public like that, I think she did a very good job. She did it, I think she did it very well, without too much rehearsing. I think Jack should be very proud that her girl could speak like that, and because Jack is like me, very laid back, don't tend not to open his mouth too much, and he should be very proud. Okay, oh yeah, I gotta give thanks to Steve. He's the one that put the display together. He and Icy Morris, my youngest brother, put the display together, and also Jane. She's the one that put the whole program together, and put it together in such a way that it just flow one into another without any hitch. I think she does a very good job, and I'm very thankful for that. Gee, I got the turnout was so great, I got no idea. But anyway, it was packed. I heard numbers like 200, because the inside was packed. Not, it was overflow right out into the courtyard, and I was so busy with the reporters after my speech. I didn't really have time to circulate. I was busy talking to the reporter. As a matter of fact, when I came back, the birthday cake was gone, and I of course I saw pictures of it. I didn't, but then I didn't get even a taste of it. But I saw just the picture of it. So I would say the turnout was very good, more than what I'd expected, and it was a good turnout. Oh, Jack! Oh, you know how Jack is. Jack's is not too excited about doing film. You notice he tend to stay away from the tailor-made film. Let me do all the work. He prefers to stick his nose in the sewing machine and keep on working. But then when you see the results like this, I'm sure he'll be very proud too. And he should be proud of the way things are happening at Modernize Tailor, thriving and with lots of business, and not only Jack, but then I think my dad should be very proud too.